Hey, good morning to you. Good afternoon. Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. I have some very big updates on this storm. With this wind shear and this dry dust coming in, y'all, this thing is weakening greatly. I am showing some capabilities of it strengthening to the edge of a tropical storm right before landfall, but it's not keeping it. Now, I'm going to go through everything that you need to know to expect. This is going to be a big storm event. It's going to be a big rainmaker, although there is a lot less rain that is going on. So there's a lot of good news this morning happening with this system. There's some major weakening going on. Now here we are this morning. The system has already circled back around to the east of the Gulf of Mexico. And as of the 1 a.m. early this morning, it did get up to 30 miles per hour wind speed. Now to be a tropical storm, you need to be 39. And I'm still showing that there will be a more western curve towards the end. I will go through everything you need to know. I will make timing and impacts a main thing for this video. Now, if you've never been here before, hello. My name is Mark. I do upload every single day, just not Friday from sundown to Saturday from sundown. But make sure you hit that subscribe button because you're not going to miss a video for this hurricane season. But I will go through all the cautions and what you need to look out for as this comes on land and passes through your area. Now, the two videos I have for you today, the one on the top is showing you the wind gusts. You can see as this system comes on land, and this is from the NAM 3K, so we can see 60 hours ahead. You see there's about 30 to high 40s miles per hour wind gusts, and it might even get into the low 50s, but it's not showing a lot of intensity anymore at all. And the video right above my head is showing you the wind shear. There is getting a lot of deep layer wind shear from the west side, northwest of the system still as it pushes north through the Gulf. And we still have the upper level low over Mexico, and it is going to continue to steer it to the east, northeast. Now this is our system as of early this morning, and you can see it is getting a lot of shear. So we have the streamlines curving all the way down to the deep south of the Gulf of Mexico, curving back up and just shearing the heck out of this storm. It is really weakening this storm, but you can see how broad this system is. It is covering the whole Gulf of Mexico almost. It is very big. It is very broad. As of this morning, it is still 90% chance, and you also have an 80% chance of formation within the next 48 hours. So there's a good possibility for that as well. I do expect this to be a tropical depression either later this afternoon or early tomorrow morning. Now this is from the NAM 3K. This has your reflectivity. Also it has your wind gusts of what can happen with this storm. And as this storm gets closer towards land, it does start to get a little bit better formation actually when it gets on land. But you can see as it goes through the Gulf, it does have some good storms. I will show you. It has some nice cells within them. On the right side, you can see that the wind gust does strengthen up a little bit as it gets together, but then it weakens back down. That's because the temperatures of the water start to cool back down a little bit. There is a good spot of cold temperatures. Then it will strength back up with the wind gusts right before landfall. And yeah, you really need to worry about waterspouts becoming tornadoes for southern Louisiana. And then as it gets on land, you can see the miles per hour of the wind gusts. The strongest is in the high 40s with a possibility of maybe 50s for all the way from Baton Rouge all the way to Mobile, Alabama. As the storm moves onshore, you can see it over Mobile. You're getting the 50 miles per hour wind gust possibilities right there. And this is going all the way from Friday into Saturday. And you can see that here with the storms. It gets really good towards land. And then when it gets on landfall, it gets very broad and it breaks off almost into two pieces of energy. This one's actually going over southeast Louisiana, and this piece is going towards Mobile, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida. So there will be storms anywhere from Baton Rouge all the way to Mobile when this comes on shore. That will be the bulk of the worst of it. Now the euro shows that it stays pretty weak, 1007. It will strengthen a little bit, 1006 millibars, and then it'll start heading towards Louisiana. It does take a little bit of a western turn right before landfall, and you can see how the storms do come on shore for New Orleans and southeast Louisiana as this system comes on land. And it does spread out and get very broad as it comes on, and it does get very good for Mississippi. So Mississippi, it looks like you will be seeing some storms as the system pushes across. According to the Euro, it is still in the afternoon when the storms do hit on Friday. Then it will come on land. It'll get very broad with all of its storms. But you'll see when it heads towards Alabama and Georgia, it still strengthens just a little bit tightens up around South Carolina as it goes for North Carolina and leaves. But I'm not showing severe strengthening. I'm not even showing hurricane force wind gusts anymore. And for the Mid-Atlantic, this is going into Saturday evening. It does have a 1004 millibar pressure system. It does strengthen a little bit. It does bring you wind gusts back up to 50, even possible 60s for South Carolina. I will show you. And I'm still showing that it does strengthen off the coast of North Carolina, Delaware, and Maryland as this pulls away. So it could be a little bit of a wind event and some rain for y'all as well. And when you look at the NAM 3K, which shows us very good detail within the next 60 hours, you can see as it comes on land with the moisture, and this is right around Friday afternoon, it stays to the east side of Louisiana. It does get pretty bad for southern Louisiana all the way up until Baton Rouge. It stays heavy rainfall amounts, and the heavy rainfall will come into southern Mississippi and southern Alabama as well. But after you see this right here, it starts moving to the east at that point. So whatever, as far as Lake Charles goes or Beaumont, Texas, I know y'all had it real bad in the past. This will be a very light event for y'all. You do see it does weaken down greatly, but now it's starting to move these bands all over Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, and you have some nasty hail course to them. So y'all really need to watch out for waterspouts turning into possible tornadoes along the coast. Still showing Friday evening. It'll start off in the 30 miles per hour wind gusts. It will gain to more than 50 miles per hour wind gusts as it gets on land. I do show there is a quiet period where it does intensify just for a second, and you got a possibility, at least in the Euro model, for it to be a tropical storm. I did compare it with other models. I will show you. There's only one showing that as a possibility. As you go into late Saturday into early Sunday, it does bring all the winds east side loaded, of course. It is getting hit with all this shear. Just thanks to these upper level lows you have over Texas and Mexico, it is keeping it all sheared off. That's why it's all staying on the east side of the storm. So it's very important because as this storm passes through the Gulf of Mexico, all the convection is on the east side. It's not around the center. So without it having a lot of convection, a lot of updraft around the center of this storm, there's not going to be a great deal of strengthening happening. But as it comes on land, all the wind gusts is mainly on the east side of this storm. It looks like definitely Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Panhandle, Florida, and South Carolina will be in on this wind event more than anybody else. But it will be up to 50 miles per hour wind gusts, and I did show some possibilities for low 60s. Here's a broader look so you can see it comes on land Friday evening into early Saturday morning. You got it up to 50s. This dark spot is actually high 50s, almost 60 miles per hour wind gusts. But it stays around the low 50s as it moves on land. So you have low 50 miles per hour wind gusts. Possibilities of it getting into the high 50 miles per hour. But you see it weakens greatly. It goes down to high 40s. And that's all you're dealing with as it moves across. Then when it gets towards South Carolina, you have another chance for it to go back up to high 50s and even a chance for 60 miles per hour wind gusts as it starts to move off come Monday. So that's about what you have with this system. It does weaken back down to 50s again when it goes to North Carolina and goes away. But there is a period where it still gets up to about 60 miles per hour wind gusts for y'all. So it will be strong in the beginning, then weaken greatly. Then as it moves to the east with 30 and high 40 miles per hour wind gusts, then it will gain strength for Georgia, South Carolina, to 50 and 60 miles per hour wind gusts is possible as it goes to North Carolina back down to 50s. And here's a look as it comes on shore. So far you're getting about 30 miles per hour wind gusts. This is Friday by 1 p.m. By the time you get to 7 p.m., then you got the 50s start moving in. And by 1 a.m. on Saturday morning, this is going to be overnight. You're going to be having the 40s and 50 miles per hour wind gusts moving in with this system as it moves north and northeast. By 1 p.m. on Saturday, then the miles per hour wind gust is going to be over Mississippi and Alabama as it tracks east. For Mississippi, Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, by 1 p.m. on Saturday, the 40 and 50 miles per hour wind gusts will be in Gulfport, Mississippi, Mobile, Alabama. Y'all be feeling it the most. And by the time you get up to 7 p.m., then it's going to stretch really good over Alabama and then keep going to the east-northeast. 1 a.m. on Sunday, this is the wind gust that will be on the east side of this storm as it crosses over Mississippi. And it's not doing a big curve, it's doing a nice tight curve, a lot tighter than it's been showing. And by the time you go overnight to 7 a.m. on Sunday, now you got 30 and high 40 miles per hour wind gusts stretching all the way from center of Alabama by Montgomery, all the way to Marietta, Georgia. So this will be a nasty little band of wind gusts as it passes through. And I'll show you another view. When you get to about 1 p.m. on Sunday, it does stretch and cover almost all of Georgia. So Georgia, 8 a.m. on Sunday, here's that band of wind gusts that's pretty powerful. And when you get to 2 p.m. on Sunday, it just spreads all the way out across the whole state almost. And you have 50 miles per hour wind gusts in this storm. As it moves to the east, by 8 p.m. on Sunday, you'll still be in the high 40s. Then when it gets to South Carolina, by 2 a.m. on Monday, overnight again, it will strengthen even more wind gusts for South Carolina. Now you get into the high 50s, possibility for 60s by 8 a.m. on Monday for Columbia especially as it moves east through North Carolina. 2 p.m. on Monday, you still got 50 miles per hour wind gusts for South Carolina and North Carolina as it goes away. So by 8 a.m. on Monday, it's going through South Carolina. It's got the high 50 miles per hour wind gusts, possibility of 60s. Then it goes towards North Carolina, and it's still in the 50s as it passes by. Then it goes away, and it don't give a lot of winds towards Delaware or Maryland like it showed the other day. And the last shot is 8 p.m. on Monday. Still getting 50 miles per hour winds possibilities as it moves offshore and goes away. To update you on the next system, the next tropical wave that's coming through the Caribbean, I do have some information on that. And it is showing sometime around the end of June still, but it's probably going to be like the beginning of the July. We do have some issues that could be happening, and it looks like they form up really quick. If you look at this one here, you can see how fast that forms up in the Gulf. So far headed for Louisiana. I'm sure that will change. And another one that confirms that it just starts up pretty quickly. This is even more broad, and you see how big it gets in the Gulf as it moves towards land. And as we look at the possibility for what the millibar pressure could be for this storm, it is weakened greatly. Look at the chances of it. The best chances of it having is a 1,000, maybe a 1,003, maybe a 1,002 possibility millibar low pressure system as it comes towards land. There is one that shows it could strengthen down to a 998 right before landfall, but everything weakens again greatly back down to a 1,002 to a 1,004 millibar pressure system. And when I go through NAM 3K, it does show that it does hold its center pretty strong all the way to Mississippi. But there will be a strengthening period for Georgia, South Carolina with these winds as this system moves around. And you can see when it gets on land, it's just everything is 1,000 and something millibar pressure. It is greatly weakened. But when you get towards South Carolina and Georgia, now everything turns into the 900s. So a lot of ensembles show that this is a possibility for a quick strengthening real quick. And the dust is still playing a big part in this storm. You see as it comes up on Thursday, it gets on the east side of this storm and it's a big plume of dust. It's not a weak plume. And as you get into Friday, it gets intertwined with the storm, and that is dry air that dust. So it does help it weaken again. It's not a lot that's inside of it, but it's enough to weaken it down. And the big plume stays on the east side of it as it moves on shore. So I do not see that this has a chance to do any major strengthening. I will show you there's one model that shows that it has a chance to barely be a tropical storm, but that's about it. And you can see here, as the low pressure system moves north, the big thickness of the dust does get intertwined and gets into this system, and it blocks it and weakens it as it goes towards landfall. So there still could be a quick gust of wind gust where it could strengthen for a brief period, but this dust is all in the system. Now you can see as the system moves north, this is your wind gust according to the NAM 3K. You can see it does pick up on the wind gusts. And as we go through Friday, 9, 10 a.m., it starts getting up to the red. Now the red, if you look down here, is around 40 miles per hour wind gusts. To get up to the 50s, still the red would be tropical storm if that was 10 meter winds, but this is your wind gust. It gets up to 50 when it gets around that brown color. And as it gets on land around 11 a.m., for Friday with the winds, that winds start coming in, especially on the shore and the coast. But when you get to Friday afternoon, that's when it moves over. If you notice, the center of the storm moves a little bit more to the west, and then it comes on land. And right before it comes on land, if you look right here, you'll see it tries to tighten up just a little bit before land. It's a little bit too late, but it does try to intensify at the last second. Here's another look at it so you can see it close up. It does try and tighten up. Still, it's not all the way around the center. If you notice right there, it's not south, and right there it's not north and northeast. So it never gets all the way around the center. It does try, but it's a little too late. But as it comes on land, you can see it try and tighten up. And that yellow that you see now is up to 50 miles per hour wind gusts. So there will be pockets of 50 miles per hour wind gusts, especially for Baton Rouge. I've been seeing that a lot. As the center of the storm moves over Mississippi and everything else weakens greatly. This is your wind gust, and it's in the 30s. Now, I'm showing a couple of different things, and the H-Wharf is a very good model. And as you look at the streamlined winds, you can see at the 10-meter wind speeds that as this comes on shore, it starts getting into the red. And the red is actually in the 40s, so this would actually be a tropical storm according to the H-Wharf. Then as it goes towards land, it gets even stronger. Then it breaks land, and the strongest I find so far is after it's on land, it still intensifies, and the winds get all the way up to the possible high 40s, maybe even 50. But then again, you can see the streamlines pushing straight north. But once again, guys, this is 10-meter wind speed. So at the 10-meter level for your wind speed, we do pick up high 40s, possible 50 miles per hour gaining on this storm as it gets on land. And it does strengthen to a couple spots almost to 60. You still got to watch out for waterspouts as they come on land. They could easily become a tornado, especially for the panhandle of Florida. It is still pulling very strong winds after this system is already on shore and moving away. And another thing that's not helping this storm is there's going to be a little bit of a cooling phase. We do have that cold air coming down, but it is going to be cooling the continental shelf a little bit too much to where the warm temperatures really won't be there. You got to have 27 degrees Celsius to have 80 degrees Fahrenheit for this storm to remain strong. Now this is your 3-day sea surface temperature averages. There's a couple pockets of very cooler water temperatures to where this thing wouldn't be able to strengthen as it gets on land. It would actually weaken because the waters are getting a little too cool. So I'm showing information back and forth on what could happen. There could be a strengthening period where it could be, for a minute, a tropical storm, but it will weaken down greatly. Now all the guidance models are showing that it will get a western turn to it, and this is by your GEFS, and you can see that it does expect to make that western track but still head towards Louisiana. Now the CMC model shows that it could take a western track towards Texas, but the average and the more likely path will be towards Louisiana. Now this is the one I like. This is the ATCF guidance. This tells you a lot of things. So within the next 48 hours where the center of the storm is going to be really is going to play a big part. Because you can see in 48 hours it could be right below Louisiana. In 48 hours it could be on the western side of the Gulf, which would put it towards Texas within 3 days of 72 hours. Impacts way before that, that's just the center of the storm. And if it would be over here in 48 hours, it would actually carry over to the northeast of the Gulf of Mexico, even possibly quickening over southern Georgia and northern Florida, which would put the storms all around y'all. So it's different on what it's going to do, but more than likely the path on what everything else is showing me is that it will be around here for 48 hours, and then it will be around here for the center of the storm, around southern Louisiana. Some more things I'm showing a little bit different still. The Euro model is showing by 7 p.m. on Friday, you'll start getting some storms coming into New Orleans. GFS shows by 7 p.m. on Friday that the storms will be a little more eastern, more like Mississippi and Alabama. And the NAM 3K shows that we're going to have both. And it shows that it actually has a storm by 9 p.m. hitting southern Louisiana. And as it comes on shore, the one that's going over Mississippi and Alabama actually come together. And there's still 2 shots of energy I'm still showing that comes on land. So everywhere from Baton Rouge all the way to Mobile, Alabama, y'all need to watch out because the storms are coming y'all way. I know some people are showing just the Louisiana side. I'm showing it will stretch all the way out even further as it moves east, the rain band tails are going to stream right over the panhandle of Florida. So I think this tornado threat that's over Louisiana, southern, I think it will move eastern as the next day comes along. Now this is all of our model guidance as far as what's going on with our winds. And you can see right on this line right here, this is your winds, and it tells you what day and what the winds most likely going to be like. And right around landfall for Friday evening, Saturday morning, the highest winds I'm picking up is 36 with the GFS. And the only one that's showing a possible tropical storm at landfall is the Euro. It's showing that by 6 p.m. on Friday, it could get up to 43 miles per hour winds, which would make it a tropical storm. Tropical storm is 39. And the NAM 3K shows that the best you have will be 37 miles per hour winds. And it actually brings it close to Euro. Euro shows it around 6 p.m. on Friday. The NAM shows it be around 9 a.m. till noon on Friday. So there's still a lot of back and forth, but it's not trending. Now, when you look through your wind accumulation for the whole track period, this is going by your wind gusts. This is not sustained winds. You can see that when you get around Louisiana, the winds are somewhere around the high 40s. Port Sulphur might see a 55 miles per hour wind gust. You see the edge of the coast is high 40s to possible 50 miles per hour wind gusts for the coast. So it does have it for southeast Louisiana. Also for Mississippi, it shows that the winds will be mostly high 30s. You will get some 40s as you get towards the coast. It looks like it's southeast Mississippi. But this is according to the Euro, and it's not showing really all that bad. And the Euro showed the strongest. As you go through Alabama, it's showing high 40 miles per hour wind gusts, but you do have some pockets of possible 50 miles per hour wind gusts as this storm brings by. Matter of fact, when you get to the center of Alabama and go through Georgia and South Carolina, it starts strengthening and the winds get a little worse. So Panhandle, Florida looks like 30s and possible, a spot for 40s. Southern Georgia, high 40s with 50 miles per hour wind gusts, and it will go across all of Georgia. But as you get towards eastern Georgia and South Carolina, now you're getting towards the high 50s and the possible 60 miles per hour wind gusts. And it's showing that the worst spot so far will be around 63 miles per hour wind gusts when you get somewhere towards Gaffney, South Carolina. So it will be a little bit of that area for the worst of it. But I am showing that the highest and the strongest of the wind gusts will be in this region for South Carolina for 60 miles per hour. While it's 50 after, 50 before, the peak of it will be still South Carolina. And 50s as you go from North Carolina. Now the GFS just totally shows that this thing just dies off fast. This is still your wind accumulation, and when it gets towards shore, you can see where the highs are. This is 40 miles per hour wind gust in the purple. And this could be a high 40, 47. That's along the coast. But once you get on shore, everything is high 20s to 30 miles per hour wind gusts. Possible 35 miles per hour wind gusts. And as it goes towards South Carolina, it shows a weakening phase instead of a strengthening phase. But the highest I'm showing so far is 30 miles per hour wind gusts with this system as it comes on. This is within the next 5 days. And an NAM 3K, which can only take us to the beginning of the landfall event. You can see the most is maybe some high 40s for Morgan City and all the way up to Baton Rouge miles per hour wind gusts. There's a spot right there. It looks like it's 54, right in between Baton Rouge and Donaldsonville. There's a spot. But everything is in the 40 miles per hour wind gusts or high 30s, even with the NAM 3K as this comes on shore. So let's talk rainfall now. I'm showing this is going down so great. I mean, in the beginning we saw, I think, 12 to 18 inches. It started off pretty crazy. But this weakening is really awesome. You still get a lot of rain for a lot of people that don't want it. According to the GFS, Beaumont, Texas, you still be getting over 2 inches. Lake Charles, you're still getting over 2 inches. But the heaviness of the rainfall will be in Mississippi. Hattiesburg, almost 4 inches. Wiggins, over 5. Gulfport, 6. And this is according to the GFS. The GFS shows that it is going to be light rain amounts. I'm still showing 5 inches for Atlanta. We showed that yesterday as well. And in Alabama, you do have a spot from 3 inches from Birmingham to Montgomery. The Euro shows the most rainfall. It shows that you will still get 5 inches of rainfall within the next 5 days for New Orleans, 7 inches for Port Sulphur. That's kind of where everything kept feeding water at. 3 inches for Baton Rouge, 4 for Hammond, and then when you get towards Mississippi, it goes all the way from Hattiesburg, Mississippi with 4 inches, McGee 3 inches, Gulfport 5, and Macon at over 4 inches. Mobile, you're still getting over 5 inches according to Euro and the GFS. With it being for Alabama and all the way as high north as Coleman, we'll see a couple of inches, and it gets a little heavier as it go down. It's 4 inches for Clanton at Alexander City, so it does get a little heavy spot right here in the center of Alabama by Alabaster. It gets pretty heavy. Now the Euro shows a couple inches less for Atlanta. Instead of 5 inches, you're getting 3 inches. But the heaviness being a little bit more northern, especially for Helen, you're getting to 5 inches. And it's showing heavier also for South Carolina. It's showing that it'd be 3 inches of rainfall with 4 inches being in Edgefield. So there is a little bit of discrepancy between the two. However, I'm not showing it's nowhere near what we saw yesterday and the day before. Now the NAM is showing a little bit more detail. It's showing you the first 60 hours. And as this thing comes on shore, it shows that Baton Rouge can get 4 inches, New Orleans a couple inches. Jackson, Louisiana can actually get 7 inches. And Pascagoula, Mississippi could get 4 inches, with everybody else being light so far. You got to imagine it's only 60 hours, so it puts the storm right about here. It didn't finish training the storms, but the rain bands are going to train more over here after landfall. And it puts Mobile almost 10 inches of rainfall. And we actually been seeing that for a few days other than the other models. So that actually kind of trended that this is going to feed right into Mobile, Alabama with a lot of heavy rainfall. And the Euro is showing that the wave height is still going to be 14 feet by 7 p.m. on Friday. And then it will diminish very quickly by Saturday morning. 6 a.m. is already down to 11 feet. And then this is going to shift to the east towards Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, and weekend. The GFS shows that the heaviness is actually going towards Mobile. This is by 4 p.m. on Friday with 10-foot waves. As the system moves a little bit closer, it could get up to 11 with a possibility for 12. But it looks like it's all going towards Panhandle, Florida, and Alabama. So that's GFS and NAM is showing that Mobile, Alabama, Panhandle, Florida in this area, you're going to have some heavy rainfall and bad wind. And you can see here on the NAM 3K that this system stays very disorganized. That's where it gets hit with all that streamlined winds. It still pushes forward after that, and it gets pretty nasty hail cores within it once it passes it. But it never really groups back up until right before landfall. It tries to strengthen up, but it's a little bit too late. And if you take a good look at it, you can see it does try to strengthen, but it's just a little too late. It don't quite get it before landfall, and then now it's getting land interaction, and that will weaken it as well. But I am showing that these cells will train towards Mobile, Alabama. So Mobile, you need to watch out, because after the original storms come through, because they have some nasty hail cores with them, especially on the 19th at 1 p.m., and they track all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico, and all this is going to come on land right over Alabama and the Panhandle of Florida. That's as far as you can see with it, but it continues to track east and pull it north. So this will continue, this nasty band of rain bands. It will continue to pull onshore as it moves east, so it will continue to affect as it goes towards Tallahassee. Now I'm going to play this for you so you can see as it roars. I do show there still is some threats, guys. You still have heavy rain coming on. You still have the surge of heavy waves of rain that's coming on from the Gulf. You still have some high wind gusts, very high, even up to 50, even up to 60 for Georgia and South Carolina. So there still is a lot of threats. You got waterspouts that could easily turn into tornadoes on y'all. The main thing you need to do is prepare for this. Make sure you're prepared for the flood, and make sure you're prepared for power outages. It won't take much wind to push these trees over and cause your power outages. Just make sure you're prepared. No projectiles in the yard. Pick everything up so those can't bust your house or someone else's. Just make sure you get prepared. That's all you can do. If you get prepared, you should go right through this easily. I know a lot of people that don't believe, but in my heart, I believe it's all the prayers that we gave to Yahweh, begging him, pleading with him to have mercy on us. I believe he's the one that raised this wind shear. I believe he's the one that weakened this storm, for he does control the storms. Amen. That's my belief, and it will not change. So thank you once again for visiting my channel. I do appreciate every single one of y'all. Y'all are the greatest community I've ever seen on YouTube. Y'all are very nice people, very good-hearted. God bless every single one of you. Hit that like button to help get this information out of these impacts changing. That it's not going to be a big, severe event. It will be severe. It will have a lot of problems, a lot of worries with it, and it will cause a lot of issues, but not as bad as it was looking. So it's looking a lot better. Let's praise our Father. Amen. Psalm 36. The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart, that there is no fear of God before his eyes. For he flattereth himself in his own eyes, until his iniquity be found to be hateful. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. He deviseth mischief upon his bed. He sitteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. Thy mercy, O Lord, is in the heavens, and thy faithfulness reacheth unto the clouds. Thy righteousness is like the great mountains. Thy judgments are a great deep, O Lord. Thou preservest man and beast. How excellent is thy loving kindness, O God! Therefore the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings. They shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of thy house, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of thy pleasures. For with thee is a fountain of life, and thy light shall we see light. O continue thy loving kindness unto them that know thee, and thy righteousness to the upright in heart. Let not the foot of pride come against me, and let not the hand of the wicked remove me. There are the workers of iniquity fallen. They are cast down, and shall not be able to rise. Amen. Hope you all have a very, very great day. All glory does go to Yahweh, God of Jacob. Amen.